I have never played a Souls game before until now. I keep hearing about the one named Godrick the Grafted. I even faced off against his soldier, but 12 hours ago. As such, I have been preparing myself tirelessly to learn and become as strong as possible. And now it's finally time to enter Castle Stormviel. After 26 hours, 13 minutes, and 37 seconds in the lands between, this has been my experience. Where I last left off, being the Elden Ring warrior I am, I completed my quest at Castle Morn, where I laid waste to the Weird Boys and shackled Leonine Misbegotten to his death. As such, I am finally ready to approach what I have been told is the first real test of strength in the lands between. I prepared myself by farming some more mobs so I could finally increase my strength enough to dual wield my Bloodhound's Fang and dismount her. However, even after optimizing my armor for medium load, simply dual wielding these behemoth blades made me thick with a few extra C's. And as such, I had to go back down to just the Bloodhound's Fang for now. Also, a huge discovery of mine. I had noticed folks commenting on my previous step in Elden Ring that I was not using the Bloodhound's Fang correctly. Well, I finally figured it out. And yeah, I can imagine the frustration for the observer seeing me clearly not understand what I'm doing. Now that I am prepared, it is time to finally approach Castle Stormviel. Be aware of projectile weapon. I wonder what that's all about. Oh, hey, there's a dung beetle. Shit, it's that crazy fire missile thing again. I backed up and gathered myself with my newfound knowledge of danger, and I went to work with the guard boys, taking them down one by one. I made my way to the missile launcher and secured my position at the gate. I kinda wish you could use these missile launchers, actually. As I took my first steps into Castle Stormviel, I was greeted with a gracious sight. A sight of grass. I'm not really sure what to expect ahead, but a castle with a sight of grass at the beginning must spell trouble soon ahead. I rested and continued up the pathway, identified a summoning pool, and read a message telling me it was time for death. I stepped forward and observed the riling storm surrounding the castle towering above me. My next move will surely be one of terror.
In search of the Elden Ring. Emboldened by the flame of ambition.
Jesus Christ, dude, I was not expecting a boss instantly. Nonetheless, I went to battle, whiffing my first attack and getting absolutely blasted after. First impressions, this guy hits really hard and seems to have a weird delay on his attacks, like he holds them for an extra second or so. I got a few hits in to see that he can, in fact, be damaged. With one flask remaining, I continued my pursuit of attack, bringing Margit to 2/3 health. I dodged into his hammer slam and chunked him, this time down to 1/3. But alas, I had taken too much damage and my foolish ambitions were put to rest. Upon my awakening, I have gathered that firstly, this boss was unexpected, and secondly, he is very hard. I sidestepped his golden blades and performed a step attack, dealing some early damage. I'm still having a problem timing up my dodges though. Already down to 3 flasks, I timed up another step attack to chunk Margit once again. I continued though to fail my dodges to get dunked myself, but then rolled just at the right time to land a deep blow to Margit Margit the Fell Omen. But I got too greedy and was struck down. Alright, my step attack needs to be my focus moving forward. When I land it successfully, it deals so much damage, but I also have to get better at dodging. His delayed attacks are really confusing, so it's been hard to figure out, but I have to if I'm going to defeat him. I kicked things off again with my step attack, but took some early and unnecessary blows. I avoided his golden blades and gave him a taste of my Bloodhound's Fang yet again. I tried taking tea time, but he said no, and hammer slammed me into the soil. And with a flurry of blows, he sent me packing once again. This guy's delayed attacks are really starting to piss me off. I'm really trying, but I am having a hell of a time with my dodges. Back at it. And smashed again. Jesus, dude. With one flask remaining, I tried to reset my engagement. I went after a step attack, but the follow-ups by Margit were foolish, and my ambitions were put to rest yet again. I am starting to feel a little discouraged as I went into this battle thinking I had actually figured out the combat in Elden Ring. It seems like I was wrong. I traversed again and dodged properly at first, but then took an ungodly amount of damage soon after. With 3 flasks left, I planned my next attack, only to get absolutely decimated. I backed off and tried timing up my step attack, but just as before, Margit followed up immediately and sent me back to whence I came. I need to make a change. Every time I step attack, he hits me with a flurry of blows right after. I need to better time up my attacks so I can avoid that this time. I dodged his slam, landed a step attack, and then got sent back. But I dodged again and got in some good strikes. But just like that, I have literally 2 health. I drank some flasks and landed a few more strikes. But does it matter? I still can't figure out when to dodge. With him at half health, I dodged several of his attacks and retaliated, getting down to a quarter health, and then... I know now what I must do. Patience. I started things off with a step attack and then backed away, avoiding the quick retaliation from Margit. I waited again and landed some strikes from behind. I timed up my step attack perfectly this time and chunked Margit. I got hammer slammed and no! Man, I really felt like I had it going there. Honestly, I think I did. I just made a crucial mistake there at the end. If I clean that up, I will surely defeat him. Once again, a step attack to kick things off and then got chunked. I avoided his next attacks and through a mix of chaotic maneuvers, I landed another step attack. With 1 flask remaining and still 2/3 health from Margit, this is going to be difficult. I was starting to feel the heat as I felt like I had a chance to win, but also had the same chance to lose. With my last remaining bit of health, I performed some crucial dodges and hit some critical attacks, and just like that, I landed the final blow for my second great enemy felled. Margit the Fell Omen, you are mine. You know what we have to do. Let's go! That boss was seriously so hard, and I am freaking excited that I got him down in really only a handful of attempts. But alas, Margit the Fell Omen has been felled, and my attention must now move forward, as we are still seeking the one they call Godrick the Grafted. Round table hold. After speaking to Melina, she allowed me to enter this unknown place. It looks like it is a really big site of grass, maybe? I spoke with this senior boy, and he assured me that it was, in fact, a safe space to be. That's good to know. I spoke to Dialos, and he told me about a woman named Lanya. I'll keep an eye out for her in the future. Then I met an old friend sitting at the table. It's D. The last time I saw him, he told me not to go after the Tibia Mariner, and we know how that went. D mentioned something about Gronk, the beast clergyman, and how they need to meet a reckoning. I chose to accept. I started exploring the surrounding area here at the Round Table Hold, and came across a woman sitting on a bed. I spoke to her. She greeted me as Fia and offered to hold me? Okay. She said I would bear a Baldakin's blessing if so. I guess I'll let her, since it's a sacred act. That's nice. Just like that, Baldakin's blessing. She offered to hold me as often as I need. I'ma be honest, I feel like in certain states this might be considered something slightly against the law, but hey, here we are. I continued my exploration to find a white mist. I presented a stone sword key and entered. What I found inside was a chest. It granted me the Crepus's Black Key crossbow. Up to this point, I haven't had much use for bows, but I'll take it. I'm sure sometime soon I'll put it to good use. As I continued my exploration of Round Table Hold, I met this wheel boy and purchased an incantation called Urgent Heal. It sounds like I can use this to heal myself in battle, potentially? Not quite sure, but I'm glad to have it. I returned to Castle Stormviel to further pursue my next target. The gates are closed, so I went and talked to this old boy to see if he can help me. He told me that the main gate was not the way I actually wanted to enter the castle. I appreciate the help, my friend. Wait. You know what? Actually, I don't think I can trust him. He didn't like that. I told him I wanted to use the main gate. I don't think he's being exactly truthful about his secret entrance. I approached the main gate and it opened. I began moving forward and found some golden... Jesus Christ! Okay, maybe I need to just serpentine and I can make it up the hill. Shit! Hey, old boy, I totally trust you and think you're telling the truth about the main gate. I'm sorry I was so rude. I took the secret way into Castle Stormviel. On my way in, I met with several birds that needed my attention. As I look off into the distance, it looks like there is a very important place out there. Perhaps it's the location of Godrick the Grafted? I'm not sure, but I definitely think I will end up there sometime in the future. I worked my way up the side of the castle and finally entered. I made quick work of many enemies in my pathway and found myself at a doorway that opened. It was dark inside, and I see a mini boss inside? Gotta be really careful here. Yup, it's a mini boss. I tried a step attack, but before I could blink, he decimated me. What the fuck? Oh my god, are you kidding? It spawned me all the way back outside? Bro. Over the next couple of minutes, I made my way back inside and went straight after the Dark Knight boy. I landed a step attack and blasted him with a critical strike to get my revenge. A chest inside the room granted me with a curved sword talisman. I may make use of that at some point. I got a few tea bags in and continued my trek through Castle Stormviel. After some time, I made it to Rampart Tower, and now finally have a good look at the inner property of Castle Stormviel. I continued. These birds were a pain in my ass. I found myself taking on a grafted scion, like the one at the very beginning of my journey in the lands between, but unlike my first encounter, I made quick work and got revenge on that disgusting foul creature. I offered a stone sword key and entered a small room full of guard boys. After laying waste, I was rewarded with a hawk crest wooden shield and a Misericorde, an interesting dagger. So cool. Amidst my exploration, I met Rogier, who offered to teach me a new Ash of War, which I greatly appreciated, but for now, I will pass. I'm still trying to properly use my step attack, so, you know, one step at a time for me. I found myself looking out a doorway into a courtyard completely swathed in guard boys. Many of them holding positions are fire turrets of some kind. I whipped out both of my crossbows and went to work, taking down as many as I could before stepping out into the courtyard. I always try my best to approach engagements in a manner that is advantageous to myself, and in this moment, I don't know what else is out there, so I might as well be boring and cheese this doorway before expanding further. I finally ran out there and cleaned up the rest of the guard boys with ease, and along the way was met with an incredible amount of loot. Always a pleasure. A thick boy stood just ahead of me with a big old dog. I approached and completed the kill. With that, the whole of this courtyard is now mine, and I touched the next site of grass. I pursued further and found these little pot boys. They look like smaller versions of Iron Fist Alexander that I met not too long ago. So cute. I found a cracked pot too. That will be super useful for... Wait, are they running after... Whoa! Bro, I didn't even touch the pot boys. Why are they attacking me? After waiting out their anger, I went back to whence I came, but this time avoided the pot boys. Another sight of grass lay before me in a small room. I approached and touched grass. And I did some business. It was time to increase my vigor to 24, bringing my health to a strong 769 HP. Following my upgrade, I stepped out to see a mist awaiting me. There's no way that's Godrick the Grafted, right? I feel like it has to be another smaller boss before Godrick. I don't really think I've even done enough in this castle yet. I chose to wait out my pursuit of that boss to find out what else I have yet to find in Castle Stormviel. I took a secret passage and found myself in an interesting area off the beaten path. I danced with this bat boy before sending them to the land of darkness. I channeled my inner Michael Scott and performed the greatest parkour in the lands between. As I continued down this pathway, things are really looking to be quite dark and dreary. I don't know what lies ahead, but I feel like it has to be something unsavory. I killed a few rats and found a dung beetle with a rancor call. Very interesting. I think I may have found a boss encounter. This area definitely looks like a battlefield. I jumped down and suddenly, out of the ground, whoa! All right, yeah, this looks like some kind of massive tree serpent boss thing. All I know is it's huge. It doesn't have a name though, so it can't be too hard, I'm assuming. Though I have had my troubles in the past with non-named bosses. I tried figuring out the tree serpent's movements and attacks while landing my own, and while I was able to bring them to half health, they brought me to 0 health. Okay, my initial impressions are that tree serpent is huge, and it was pretty hard to get close enough to perform my melee attack on them. Also, their tail is super long, which makes avoiding their attacks rather difficult. I need to find a way to get close enough for my attacks, but also avoid getting hit. Well, that's not a good start. I got absolutely freaking spawn camped over here and died yet again. I started thinking that maybe I needed some extra help with this fight, so I decided to use fire as a new additive to my arsenal. Before jumping down, I ate some exalted flesh and used some fire grease to light my bloodhound's fang. Time to get to work. I ran past him to gather my runes and then hit the tree serpent from behind. Then I got hit a few more times to completely chunk me and nearly deplete my flasks. I threw a fire pot, dodged a few times, and then got ripped from their yellow fire attack. I tried running away to reset my position and used drawstring fire grease for some more damage assistance. I also had one more fire pot, but damn, dead again. I'll spare you the pain of watching my struggles because for the next half an hour, I battled it out with the tree serpent, enduring failure after failure, until I approached the battle zone and used my last fire grease on my bloodhound's fang. It was time to stop playing around and do what I came here to do. I landed a step attack and kept my distance, biding my time to dodge attacks and land my own. So far, after getting the tree serpent to half health, I have yet to use a flask to increase my own. My timing has gotten so much better as I continued my pursuit of victory. I depleted my focus points after using my step attack numerous times, but I had a flask to replenish it back to whole. I drank a flask of Crimson Tears to maximize my HP, locked in, and dodged the tree serpent's attack. I landed another step attack, and just like that, I have him on the ropes. They slammed me down, but I got back up and with a vengeance struck for the final time. Tree serpent, you are mine. You know what we have to do. I got a golden seed. Not exactly the reward I was expecting, but I'll take it. Holy cow, man, that fight was honestly harder than I think it was for Margit the Fell Omen. And it wasn't even a named boss. Jesus, man, that took so much out of me, but I actually learned a lot from that fight. Up to this point, I haven't done much in regards to using different methods to increase my presence in a battle, like using fire pots or fire grease on my my blades. Additionally, this may be the first time that I've used a flask to replenish my focus points in a battle, which was a very interesting change to my mindset while fighting. Man, that was no joke. But with every battle, I gain more and more strength for the war ahead. Following my encounter with the tree serpent, I wanted to do some housekeeping to prepare myself for what's to come ahead. I upgraded my Bloodhound's Fang to +2, giving me a base physical attack power of 181. I leveled up my vigor to 25 to give me 800 HP. Finally, I did some crafting to give me some more fire pots and fire grease, and with that, I returned to the secluded cell in Castle Stormviel as I nervously prepared for what lay beyond the mist.
Mighty dragon, thou the true born heir. Lend me thy strength, O kindred. Deliver me unto greater heights. Well. As a lord, I command thee kneel. I am the lord of all that is golden.
Yo, I did not expect Godrick the Grafted to be the next boss. What? If I had known that, I would have prepared even more. Nonetheless, I applied some fire grease and went to work with the Lord of Gold. I tried a step attack, but he hit me back just the same. And then I mistimed my dodge and shit. Well, that's just great. Okay, so I was absolutely not anticipating fighting Godrick so soon, especially immediately after I fought the tree serpent, but no matter, it's time. More fire grease applied, and back to battle I went, failing my step attack yet again, but dodging right thereafter. But then he sent wind after me and killed me again.
Thou art unfit even to graft.
Bro said I wasn't fit even to graft. Yeah, okay, dude. Let's see about that. I skipped the fire grease and timed up my step attack better, except I didn't actually step attack and instead got chunked. I finally was able to get a couple of attacks in, and for the first time, I don't feel completely hopeless. And then I broke his poise. Landing the critical strike damaged him greatly, and I got him down to near quarter health.
Truest of dragons, lend me thy strength.
Bro, what the fuck? He just stole a dead dragon's head and then brought it back to life on his arm? Jeez, man. I healed up and ate some fireproof dried liver for fire damage mitigation and went back to work. I avoided his fire and approached closely to attack. I started missing my dodges and then got backed into a corner taking fire damage. I used my last flask and readjusted my position. Now applying more fire grease, this has to be my chance. I tried to outrun the flames, but I got bit, and then, when all hope seemed lost, one final step attack, and it's done! My first demigod felled! Godrick the Grafted, you are mine. You know what we have to do. Let's go! Nearly 17 hours into my time in the Lands Between, and I have finally defeated Godrick the Grafted. And in only 3 attempts at that. Damn! My reward was Godrick's Great Rune and Remembrance of the Grafted. I touched grass in the place of Godrick's death and rested following my perilous adventure. Oh man, I got 20,000 runes for that kill as well. Hell yeah. I observed my newly found Great Rune. Their power can be restored at divine towers. Interesting. And the Remembrance of the Grafted can be used to gain a great bounty of runes. I wonder how many runes we're talking. I noticed the old boy from before that was back at the gate. He's stomping the ground ahead.
This weasel was... Godrick was always looking down on me. He got what he bloody deserved thanks to you.
You know, seems reasonable. I decided to use my newfound runes to level up my dexterity from 19 to 21. That should surely help me in my future battles. I continued through the castle and found a Shabriri grape, who a ghost would like me to take to their maiden. And as I exited Castle Stormviel and entered Liurnia of the Lakes, I realized that my journey in the Lands Between was only just getting started. Wow. Those last 5 hours of Elden Ring were absolutely incredible. All of my learning, preparation, and patience leading up to this point was so perfectly executed. Finally getting to enter Castle Stormviel and lay siege to Margit the Fell Omen and Godrick the Grafted, not to mention the Tree Serpent, was just absolutely phenomenal. I actually feel like I am only just scratching the surface of what's to come in Elden Ring, and that is just beyond exciting to me. I feel like I have a really strong hold on my understanding of this game now, and I'm ready to expand that understanding as I continue on in the Lands Between. I am itching to get back in and to continue my pursuit to becoming the Elden Ring warrior. We're just gonna get right into it because boy, oh boy, do we have an action-packed episode today, gentlemen. Before I begin the next chapter in my Elden Ring journey over there in the old Liurnia of the Lakes, I have some loose ends just still hanging out in Limgrave that I need to tie up before proceeding further. So I went back to where I previously killed the Tree Serpent to figure out what on earth the comment section was telling me that I missed in the last episode. Spoiler, I still have absolutely no idea what the big deal was. I can't find anything, unless y'all are talking about this weird Davy Jones looking skeleton here on the ground. But even then, this doesn't even mean anything to me. I have absolutely no clue what or who that is. Moving on. I remembered seeing an area back near the first steps that looked like it definitely led to something, but I had never explored it previously, so I approached and found a sacrifice taking place. That's kind of weird. Whoa, bro, there's a dragon? I applied some fire grease and went to battle with the flying dragon Agil. I kept my distance and avoided their fire before getting smacked into the earth and then whiffing my attacks. The dragon got the high ground and I channeled my inner Anakin Skywalker and tried it, getting a couple successful strikes before getting stomped. I got absolutely beamed by his fire, and then I attacked his foot like my cat when she's feeling a little crazy, and then I got blasted again. With one flask remaining and still half health for the dragon, I have got to be more careful with the fire. I refueled my focus point and drove in for another step attack to deal some crucial damage. I only hit half the attack on my next 3 attempts, but it was enough, and just like that, another great enemy felled. Flying Dragon Agil, you are mine. You know what we have to do? Holy cow, man. I knew there had to be something interesting over here, but I can confidently tell you that I wasn't expecting a freaking dragon. And to defeat him in one attempt? Hell yes, brother. Now, like I said, I wasn't expecting a dragon over here because that's actually not where I was originally headed. It looked to me like there could actually be a cave within this chasm. So as such, I continued heading that direction. Just like that, I was right, and I found myself in the Limgrave tunnels. I touched grass and pursued further. I took out each enemy one by one, and along the way found smithing stones at my disposal. Now that's gonna be super useful. I came to this elevator and a message said there was a secret passage, so naturally I tried to find it, and instead discovered fall damage. Okay, this time I found the secret passage and successfully proceeded through it, taking down each miner boy and made my way through the tunnels and to two large wooden doors, where I would presume a boss resides behind. I applied fire grease and pressured the doors to open, and there they were. The Stone Digger Troll in their hotbed lair, ready for battle. I wanted to give the Stone Digger some extra confidence, so I let him smash me a couple times before I got started. No more playing around. Step attack engaged, and just like that, half health for the Stone Digger. I continued rolling out of the way, and with no difficulty at all, I defeated them. Stone Digger Troll, you are mine. You know what we have to do. Okay. This boss definitely seems like it's actually an early game boss that I just never found, because the sheer ease of which the Stone Digger fell was absolutely insane. But even still, it's another boss down and more experience for me, the future Elden Ring warrior. You know what? Honestly, I'm feeling pretty good. And if I'm able to take down these first couple bosses relatively easily, I wonder if it's time I finally go back and face off against my arch nemesis one more time. I used my Baldakin's blessing, yes, I read the comments, called in my spirit skellies and applied some fire grease, and went to battle once again with the Tree Sentinel, who I can actually damage now? Yo, I might actually do this. Shit, not like that. I healed up and landed a step attack. Then I got slammed, but followed it up with another strike to bring the Tree Sentinel very low. I dodged his slams, got hit one more time, and landed the final blow. Woo! Tree Sentinel, you are mine. You know what we have to do? Bro, let's go. The Tree Sentinel was the first real boss in the lands between that gave me troubles. I tried beating them multiple times before, and if you've watched these episodes, you'd know that, but every time it was to no avail. And now, after all my experience, I came back and they were a cakewalk. Now that is a true testament to just how strong we have become. Now, the next loose end that I needed to tie up was back at Oridi's Rise. This puzzle gave me some issues a while ago, but I haven't been back since my first attempt, so let's see if we can figure it out. I remembered someone telling me in the comments that it had something to do with turtles, so I'll take a look. I found the first turtle in the water, and after literally running around the entire area, I noticed the second turtle was right in front of the tower. You're kidding me, right? All right, let's try and find the last one. And just like before, I couldn't find him. No matter how far and wide I searched, I had absolutely no clue where the dog was at. In my search, I found a door at the base of this hill. Now that looks like an adventure for another time. And then, once again, I barely noticed the turtle waiting in the bush right next to the tower. At least I found him. I was granted access to Oridi's Rise, and I journeyed to the top of the tower. A chest lay before me, and I opened it to find a memory stone. It looks like this allows me to have another memory slot for my incantations. Well, hell yeah. Now, if only I could figure out how to use my incantations, this will be very useful. I've had a couple incantations for a while now, but I genuinely can't figure out how to use them, so this should be interesting. Not gonna lie, Ority's Rise was a little underwhelming for me, but honestly, that might just because I was so freaking blind that it took me ages to get inside, but I don't think it was necessarily supposed to be that hard to enter. Probably just me. All right, now to the door we found at the base of the hill. That looks to be a little bit more my speed. I opened the doors and entered into the Impaler's catacombs. A sight of grass lay before me, and I touched it, preparing myself for the inevitable challenge just ahead. I leveled my endurance to 15 and set on my course through the Impaler's catacombs. It looks like it's the same cave boys that we fought before. All right, they were annoying, but it shouldn't be a huge problem. The large door ahead was locked. Naturally. So I continued through the hallways, taking down more cave boys. Now, if this catacomb is similar to the last one I was in, I won't have any more sites of grass before the upcoming boss. So I do have to be as careful as possible with these cave boys so I don't take unnecessary damage. I'm clearly doing a great job at that. Read a message that said, "Watch out for a trap." I have to pay close attention to that because the traps sent me last time I was in a catacomb. I started looking around and figured out that there were spikes coming down from the ceiling. I baited it out to see what would happen. So the floor goes up into the spikes. Gotcha. I baited it again and then dropped down to the water below. Up ahead, there are a bunch of what looks like skelly boys. All right, no problem. I defeated a few and then noticed that they seemed to just keep coming. Okay, maybe I don't actually have to kill them and I can bypass them? I found a ladder and got out of that weird skelly situation. And just like that, I found the lever I was seeking. Surely the next stop in my catacomb journey is now the boss. And there was the mist, as expected. Didn't expect group. Weird. Are there multiple bosses in here? I tried to apply some fire grease, but was too slow and got cheap-shotted by some cave boys. Damn it, there are multiple enemies. They got me really weak and suddenly down to 2 health. Bro, come on. I drank a couple flasks to recover, took out the remaining cave boys, and then set my sights on this absolutely freaky Erdtree burial watchdog. I finally applied my fire grease, dodged out of the way, and landed a step attack before getting melted with fire. With no flasks remaining, I landed one final step attack and it's done. Another enemy felled. Erdtree Burial Watchdog, you are mine. You know what we have to do. Whew, man, these little catacomb dungeon things are really interesting. The fact that you have essentially 1 life to complete it makes it really hard sometimes. You basically have to be completely on your game, and what do you know? I was. With that, the loose ends that were hanging in the balance back in Limgrave have all been tied up, and ahead of me is a new world of discovery that will surely spell my doom. Hey, real quick, if you guys are enjoying the video, consider hitting the subscribe button. Our journey to becoming the Elden Ring warrior isn't stopping anytime soon, so don't miss out on the next step and subscribe. It was finally time to begin the next chapter in my journey through the lands between, as I began traversing the new land of Liurnia of the Lakes. My first stop was at the Church of Irith, where I got a sacred tear and met Topes, who told me about the Academy of Rea Lucaria. Hope I said that right. It sounds like this is going to be an important place in the somewhat near future. He told me about how the gates are sealed and you need a glint stone key to enter. Interesting. I went to this graveyard nearby and found an Academy scroll. Another graveyard was nearby and I went to see what loot there could be, and amidst my search, more skelly boys showed up and freaking killed me. Bro, I absolutely hate dying to annoying things. It's one thing to die to a big boss, because it was really hard, and another to get blindsided and then just get deleted for absolutely no reason. I returned and laid waste to the Skelly Boys to get my revenge. As I continued down the pathway, it became more and more dreary. But you know what always lifts my spirits? Taking down a few guard boys. Just ahead is a freaky looking forest that looks like something straight out of nightmares. How fitting. I touched grass and used my newfound sacred tear to increase my flasks. The merchant by me was selling a lantern, and given the darkness I see before me, I purchased it. Before I continue on through the forest though, I went back to Round Table Hold because I remembered that I haven't yet gotten my reward for killing Godrick the Grafted. I went and spoke to Enya, the finger reader. She told me my great rune was a shard of the Elden Ring, and if I seek another, I can become the Elden Ring warrior. She told me that the big boys that I will take down are hewn into remembrances that contain their power, and I can wield that power with the strength of the fingers. With that, I chose to obtain the Grafted Dragon as reward for my defeat of Godrick the Grafted. Interestingly, she said that the demigods are direct offspring of Queen Marika. I was not expecting that. Next, I went and spoke to that red-hooded gal outside of that shack in Stormviel. What's she doing here? Ah, her name is Roderica. Gotcha. She doesn't know what she's doing though. Okay. With that now complete, I set back out to Liurnia of the Lakes to see what mischief I can get up to. Before going through the forest, I decided to see what could be at the end of the water. Of course, I found a tunnel and found a still water cave. Now that's what I'm talking about. Curiosity may have killed the cat, but not the future Elden Ring warrior. I found some poison boys and they started wrecking me, so I decided to bail and get out of dodge. There doesn't seem to be much of a reason to actually kill them. Fighting back the poison, I went through the enemies one by one until a mist. And you know what that means. I used a flask to heal up and then tried my urgent heal incantation, but I couldn't figure out how to activate it. With my last flask now used, I prepared myself for what lay beyond the mist. I quickly applied fire grease, but got hit nonetheless, bringing me immediately to half health. I dodged and reset my position and landed a step attack. I struck him with a heavy attack and broke his poise, and with that, blasted him with a critical strike to bring him down to near third health. I landed another step attack, and with one final maneuver, I struck for the final time. Clean rot knight, you are mine. You know what we have to do. Damn, bro, that was a close one. One more hit and we were absolutely done for. But hey, that's our first boss defeated in Liurnia of the Lakes. Let's go. They also dropped a winged sword insignia, which raises attack power with successive attacks. Now, that sounds pretty interesting. With that, I am finally ready to proceed through the dark and dreary looking forest ahead. Got some creepy crawler boys over here. Ew. These blue lights are cool though. I continued along and found the map for Liurnia East. Aha, now I can finally see. And damn, dude, this map is getting much, much bigger. I proceeded further, dealing with many enemies along the way, and found a new site of grass. So I touched it. I approached an area that definitely looked like a boss zone of some kind, and the message saying try healing didn't give me much reassurance about my safety. And then, oh shit! There's a big crawler boy. Bro, they're fast as hell. I can't even track what's going on. Okay, yeah, that was interesting. Not really sure what to do differently this time. Just, I don't know, try and understand what that big crawler boy is doing, I guess. Round 2. I got hit and then dodged, getting a strike in. But just like that, they hit me with the craziest flurry of slap attack, and I was felled yet again. Unfortunately, this would prove to be quite difficult for me, so let me skip ahead a little bit. Following my failures, I've learned how to stay out of the clutches of the big crawler boy, and therefore how to defeat them. Only things didn't start too cleanly for me yet again. I healed up, dodged out of the way, and landed a step attack to do some crucial damage. I dodged again and landed the second half of my step attack to bring them extremely low. And with one final heavy attack, finally, it is done. But these stupid crawler boys won't let me have my moment. Ahem. Big crawler boy, you are mine. You know what we have to do. What the hell is that thing up there? I approached. Wait, it's a teleporter? What? I did not know they had those in the lands between. Now, where did I end up? The bottom of some sort of castle? There is a big blue enchantment on the gate ahead and a side of grass. I touched it and found out I am at South Rea Lucaria Gate. Ah, so this must be the academy then, right? I found a meeting place map on the corpse set before the gate. Not sure where this is referencing, but I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. Yup, I need a glintstone key to get inside. Interesting. Bro, what the hell is that? Freaky, man. Met another finger reader at the edge of this broken bridge, and she was very happy to read my fingers. She mentioned Mikella's favor? Snatching something from a pot? Interesting. Yo, there's one of those glowing trees. I made my way over and got my golden seed, and just like that, increased my flask charges. Back to the swampy forest I go. This woman called out to me as I trudged through the water. She asked me to retrieve her necklace, and seeing as I am to become the Elden Ring warrior, I have to look out for the little folk. I accepted the challenge. I proceeded further and found the tarnished that she spoke of. Riddler-looking boy wanted to bargain for the necklace, and since I'm ballin', I said why not, and gave up the runes for the necklace. I even bought some prawn on my way out. I returned the necklace, and she introduced herself as Raya of the Volcano Manor. In thanks, she gave me an invitation to join her house. Interesting. She said to get there, I have to seek the old ruins in the cliff, and there's an old tunnel to traverse through. That's the only way to get to the Altus Plateau. Let's see if I remember that. Before I head out to Volcano Manor, I just remembered I have some business to conduct with Godrick the Beast clergyman. Don't ask why I just suddenly decided to do this. I couldn't tell ya. So off to the Third Church of Marika I go. I made a pin on my map and headed over to another one of those teleporters. Bro, this is wild. I arrived at Greyol's Dragon Barrow. This looks very inviting. It kind of looks like that place I accidentally ran into a while ago where literally everything on my screen started to turn red. I'm not sure if that's the same place, but yeah, we'll find out, I guess. Also, this statue looks kind of weird. It almost looks like it's not actually a statue, but it's not moving, so, all right, I guess. I found another golden tree, and I got another golden seed. Now, I'm figuring that this Godrick fella must be inside this large structure. I don't know if it's a boss or what it is. I proceeded through the doors. Bestial Sanctum, I was greeted. And a site of grass is here too. All right, interesting. I approached this huge figure kneeling on the floor. Is this Godrick? It said to hand over a death root. Definitely feeling uneasy about this.
I smell it. Death. Feeding me.
Jesus, bro's having an orgasm eating death. Huh. So that is Godrick, and he gave me a claw mark seal and a beast eye. All right, cool. I definitely thought I was gonna have to fight Godrick, so I'll take this. Now about that statue outside, something is seriously not sitting right with me about that. I knew it! It's not a statue! Black Blade Kindred. Shit, bro, what the hell was that? Wow. Okay, that guy hits insanely hard. I don't even understand what just happened. I picked up my runes and planned out my next attack. I applied some fire grease, landed a step attack, and went to work. And then I got stabbed. Man, even hitting my step attack did basically no damage to him. Holy cow. This thing is insanely strong. I called in my demi-humans since I ran out of fire grease and went to battle once more with the Black Blade Kindred. Starting things off with a step attack, I once again did barely any damage. And then with single attacks, my spirits were all slain. I avoided their attacks pretty well until... This is not going well at all, but let's try it again. I called my demi-humans and hit a step attack. I've got to make more progress this time. I went in for a jump attack, and then with a slam of red energy, I was dead yet again. Jesus, does this dude have special attacks too? I got a little pissed off and ran right after him with no help, and yeah, you know, that didn't really go very well. One more try. I landed my step attack and avoided his special. Another step attack, a successful dodge, and I'm rolling. I approached for another strike, and then, what the fuck? All right, you know what? That's it. Never mind. I went back to Round Table Hold to take my mind off of that stupid Black Blade Kindred. I conversed with a few of my friends, pushing the narrative forward a bit. I finally figured out how to use my incantations. Yes, I did have to look it up. So I bought some more from the Wheel Boy, and off I went. Though the incantations aren't all that powerful at the moment, but you know, I'm sure in time they will be. I set off through the marshland and found a giant lobster. I approached. I'm feeling seafood is on the menu, baby. I threw a fireball and it did nothing. And then I got clamped. Man, dude, I am just on a roll right now. I went back and gathered my runes and then got revenge on the giant lobster. And I tried to kill the second, but then the lock-on kept switching to the stupid firefly and almost got me killed again. Jesus, firefly. I touched grass at the Academy Gate town and then went to work, pillaging through the ruins. I noticed Dialos over there, and oh no, Lanya's dead. I was supposed to find her for Dialos. He's asking me about a house who killed her. He's not talking about the house Volcano Manor, is he? Oh no. I continued fighting my way around the Academy Gate town, but honestly, outside of another grave area that was filled with golden runes, I didn't find much of anything particularly interesting over here. I swear there had to be something cool though, but unless I'm missing something, it seems pretty barren. That giant bear and I did have a few goes though. With all of that said, I am not done searching just yet. I may not have found them at this point, but I know that up ahead, there are lots of secrets yet to be discovered. As I continued my search, I found a new site of grass in Gate Town North, and nearby a message stated, "Night required ahead." Naturally, I began to observe the beautiful night landscape I was enveloped in. As I proceeded further, I found these beautiful jellyfish, but some of them are red. I wonder if that means they are enemies. Yup. Moving on. I stumbled across another teleporter. With it, I found a map for Liurnia West. Damn, bro, this map just keeps getting bigger. I touched grass and continued on in my search. If I'm being frank with you all, I am definitely struggling with a bit of confusion. One thing I never felt like I had an issue with in Limgrave was finding an interesting thing to do. But here in Liurnia, can't seem to consistently find things to do. I feel like this can't be the game's fault. It's just most likely me not understanding things. But if it seems like I'm bouncing around a lot, just please understand that that is why. I was starting to get to my wit's end, so I decided to go back and talk to Raya. I forgot where she said the Volcano Manor was, but when I got there, she was gone. All right, that's not super helpful. The invitation she gave me says, "Seek the Altus Plateau." All right, let's try again, shall we? I went back to Gate Northtown and proceeded past the jellyfish to continue my search until I heard it. Are those bells? Nighttime, barren wasteland, bells. Nice. I came across this glowing candle, and then a ghost started leading me on a pathway. Man, I don't know what's happening, but it is creepy and I kinda like it. Oh shit, that's the bell? It's like a huge structure walking up ahead with a massive bell underneath. Huh? This ghost is taking me right to the bell. Or wait, it's not? Oh, yo, it's a tunnel. Is this how I get to the Volcano Manor? Hell yes! Finally, something interesting. I took the elevator and found myself in Rhea Lucaria Crystal Tunnel. I touched grass. Up ahead was a pretty tough couple of enemies guarding a chest. Here we go. Yo, somber smithing stone. Wait, another somber smithing stone. Man, bro, these have been so hard to come by, but these are how I upgrade my Bloodhound's Fang. This is huge. I continued on the pathway ahead. Along the way, I took out the miner boys one by one, collecting the cracked crystal left behind. I will say, these miner boys are a lot stronger than the other basic enemies I have faced though. They actually take a few more attacks to kill. Kinda interesting. Speaking of that, a magic boy started blasting me and I got triple teamed and fell. Bruh. All right, run it back. I was more careful this time with the magic boy and was not deleted. Rather, I did the deleting. I activated another elevator and successfully jumped off to go through the secret access way. What I found was, well, amazing, because I found another somber smithing stone, but also quite unnerving. I don't know how to get down. Oh wait, there it is. Another somber smithing stone. Yes. I continued forward and fought my way further. General Grievous came after me and I put him in his place. He's so uncivilized. Jesus Christ, how many arrows these dudes got? I looted a chest that gave me a crystal knife. Doesn't look super strong, but it does look super cool. I took the elevator down one more time to find myself at the mist. I traversed. The Crystallian awaited me. And what the fuck are they doing? I landed a step attack and did very little damage. Oh no. I attempted another and broke their poise. I got a heavy attack in and suddenly I am feeling much better. With one flask remaining and both of us at half health, I need to be smart about my next moves. I approached for another step attack and bam! I broke their poise again and dealt a ton of damage. And with a critical strike, it was all over. Crystallian, you are mine. You know what we have to do. Oh, hell yeah, baby. That is number 2 boss in Liurnia that we've taken down. And they gave me a smithing stone miner's bell bearing. It looks like I can trade this for a few items. Interesting. I returned to Round Table Hold and offered it to the Twin Maiden Husks. However, I have no idea what happened after. Did I even get anything for it? No idea. With the slew of somber smithing stones I found, I upgraded my Bloodhound's Fang to +3. Hell yes! I also upgraded my Clawmark Seal to +5. I'm not really sure what this is gonna do for me, but I had a ton of smithing stones available, so why not, right? I bought some more incantations and talked to some more friends. I upgraded my Demi-Human Ashes to +2 thanks to Roderica's new spirit tuning, and then set off back to Liurnia. My search for greatness continues. I decided to start things off at the lake-facing cliffs this time. Maybe I just needed to go a different direction to find what I am seeking. I dropped down, heading right this time, and along the way found another site of grass. As I continued downward, I found a 2 Fingers heirloom. Cool. I found another lobster, so I tried my hand at battle yet again. And Jesus, man! I don't know what it is with seafood, but these guys just send me every time. I went back full round 2 and got my revenge. I gave another Shabriri grape to that blind girl that I saw before. I'm really curious to see where this story is gonna take me. Pursuing further, things are starting to look a bit more interesting. I stopped at a new site of grass at Liurnia Highway North. Up ahead is a large structure. I'm gonna start heading that way to see what I can find. Along the way, I found another Tibia Mariner. Wait, are there multiple of those guys? I thought there would only be one. Interesting. I decided to wait to battle it out with the boat boy until I found another site of grass. I want to make sure that traveling back here is easier in case I die. I saw a shack at the top of the hill. Probably going to be a site of grass there if I've learned anything in the lands between. I approached and sure enough, there it was. There was also a painting in the shack. Interesting. Now that I have rested, I noticed this gold boy down the hill. He required my attention. I approached and decided to teach him a lesson. I landed several blows, depleting the gold boy's health, but not gonna lie, they actually hit kinda hard themselves. But it's all good, I'm the future Elden Ring warrior. The gold boy was no match for me. He dropped a dragon cult prayer book. Okay, that sounds interesting. On my way down to the Tibia Mariner, I noticed another graveyard, so you know I had to go mess around with the Skelly boys. Only they actually messed with me, and I fell once again. All right, enough messing around. It's time for the Tibia Mariner. The beast eye quivers. Isn't that something to do with Godrick? I'm pretty sure it is. Interesting. I approached the swampy waters, called my demi-humans, and went to battle with the Tibia Mariner. I kicked things off with a strike, but his bitch ass ran away to call in backup. Okay, dude. I nailed a step attack and then got nailed myself. I healed up and went back for more, but he rode the waves away from me. Come on, bro. I'm honestly not having the best fight here, but the Tibia Mariner is such a joke that I can literally just stand next to him and tickle him with a feather and he'll still get damaged. With him down to a quarter health, I advanced for one final time and laid waste to the boat boy. Tibia Mariner, once again, you are mine. You know what we have to do. They dropped a death root and skeletal bandit ashes. Okay, so that's my third enemy felled since entering Liurnia. I'm not super impressed, but hey, at least I'm making some progress now. I explored the cliff nearby and found an interesting pathway downward. Michael Scott, I need your parkour skills. At the bottom, I touched grass and found a whole-ass community of pot boys. I wish I could stay and blaze it up with y'all, but I gotta get going. I went back to the artist's shack and continued further. Up ahead, I found another site of grass. I know sometimes I do a lot of grass touching, but it just helps me to get a better lay of the land, so don't judge me. Now that I have that death root from defeating the Tibia Mariner, I decided to return to Godrick to let him have another death orgasm. He gave me Bestial Sling, a new incantation. Well, thanks, Godrick. You know, while I'm here, I wonder what would happen if I tried to take on the Black Blade Kindred again. I called in my demi-humans, gave myself magic fortification, and went to battle once more. Step attack to start, and with one special attack, my demi-humans were gone, and then... Well, guess I got my answer. Porrent and I went down a bit, and I saw this massive fire boy guarding a structure of some kind. Ah-ha-ha, now there's my next target. I ate some fireproof dried liver and boiled prawn and approached. I tickled their feet and then got smashed by his staff. But don't worry, I got this. I kept pestering his foot until I broke his poise. And with a massive swing, my critical strike nearly killed him. And with one final blow, they fell. Man, what is it with these giant guards being so freaking easy? Ainsel River Well. Whoa, whoa, dude. This elevator is sick. The glowing lights are so cool. You know, I've got a pretty good feeling about this place. I touched grass and began my journey in the Ainsel River. Oh my god, bro, are those giant ants? Well, at least they're not spiders. I have a bit of a thing about spiders. Ugh. I methodically defeated each ant one by one as I proceeded through the river. They are kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. As I continued, I found two differing pathways. One looked a little more official, so I went back to the non-official path to see what lay ahead. Bro, are those ant eggs? All right, well, at least you can't break them. Let me use my crossbow here, because I do not trust this situation at all. I landed many arrows into the ant with the massive sack, and just as I was about to kill it, the other ants started pestering me. But it looks like I was able to do enough damage, because I got a golden rune and a rune arc. Okay, hell yeah. Now let's push through and take them all out. Wait, no. Nice. I worked back through the river and this time avoided the ant egg room and went the more official way. Oh wow, what is this place? It's absolutely gorgeous. It definitely looks like there's some sort of fight up ahead though. Creepy and gorgeous structure underground. Yeah, it usually spells fight. I continued up the stairs and onto the structure. I'm gonna be honest, man, this is super cool. Oh, yep, there's enemies below. I wonder who that statue is for. Up ahead was a site of grass, so I touched it. With that in mind, I am curious about that ant room from before. So let me go and take a look again now that I can just fast travel back here. This time I just spammed him with my arrows. Huh. It just connects to the room I was just in. Gotcha. But it does let me get on top of these pillars to get some loot. I'll take it. I accidentally got aggro of the stone boys, and damn, man, they're hard as hell. My damage isn't nearly high enough for anything. Shit. Huh. Okay. I wasn't expecting that. I went down the beautiful elevator, and this time I was curious if I even had to fight the stone boys, or could I just run past them? Aha, you can. I'm not a chicken, I swear. I'm just picking my battles is all. I stepped out to another massive cavern, and as I went forward, I got blasted with purple shit from something way higher than me. Dude, what is it with this river? I had to keep running around for my life, but there were so many freaking stone boys. At first, I thought I had to fight whatever was throwing those purple things at me, but then I saw another pathway to go to, so I retreated to find some fire and a map of Ainsel River. This area, to me, is like super weird. It's not a normal dungeon thing, I don't think. I've also been able to replenish my flasks when defeating whole groups of enemies. I'm pretty confused. I opened my new map and realized that, wait, is this a whole underground section of the map? What? Dude, this map just keeps getting more and more massive. I had no clue there were different levels to the map. Jesus. All right, well, with that said, I'll just run my way out of here and head to the next area. Ah, yes, a site of grass. I consumed some golden runes and upgraded my vigor to 27, giving me 870 HP. Definitely need that right now. I continued further through the river, not awakening the ants, and stepped out into a big room with a giant skeleton sitting on a massive chair. Okay, yeah, this definitely seems like a boss encounter. I don't want to get started just yet though, so I walked around the outskirts of the room to get an idea for what the terrain was like. And then, unexpectedly, something fell from the ceiling. Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella. Holy shit, this guy looks crazy. He charged after me and I got crushed, but then I followed it up with a strike of my own. The way his hitbox works, it's kind of hard to get close enough to attack him. I rolled out of his attack and reset my positioning and followed up with a half step attack. I think maybe I just have to wait for him to push me in order to strike and get smashed too, apparently. I rolled through their attack and then whiffed two of my own. Bro, are you serious? With no flasks remaining and still 2/3 health for the Dragonkin Soldier, this is not looking good for me. I failed to dodge and got smashed, and just like that, I was felled. Okay, the big issue I had with the Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella was that his body is difficult to get close enough to because he is essentially crawling. It makes it really hard. So this time, I'm gonna call in my demi-humans to help me out in battle. I kicked things off with a half step attack and rolled out of his next attack to get a small strike of my own. With my demi-humans putting in some work, I was able to get a few strikes in on the boss to bring him to almost half health. But once again, it's so hard to hit his body. I got close enough to strike, and then, what the hell? Yo, this dude's got lightning and he flies? Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I ran out of the lightning zones and dodged his dive just to get slammed and absolutely obliterated. So this guy has two different styles of combat, it seems. I will say, if I can avoid his dive, I might be able to get close enough to attack him. Let's try it. I called my demi-humans and waited for him to approach. I rolled in and successfully nailed a step attack. Then I got uppercutted, that's cool. I whiffed another attack and then got smashed. I got too greedy and then his lightning got me. Okay, I at least got him much lower that time. I really just got too greedy there. I should have backed off when he started to charge up. Let's just go again. I rolled and hit a couple quick strikes and then got blasted myself. With him distracted, I hit a step attack and then got bitch slapped again. He charged up and I dodged out of the way this time. With him down to nearly 1/3 health, I ran out of his lightning zones but then got slapped again. I approached his leg and nailed a step attack. I got ran over, but things are feeling really good right now. I dodged his dash, but got hit with the lightning. This is getting so close. But then, one more time, bam! Great enemy felled! Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella, you are mine. You know what we have to do. Woo! Man, that fight was absolutely exhilarating. I think it's safe to say that this is one of the hardest bosses I have faced yet, but also one of the freaking coolest, man. It was just a secret boss tucked away in this river, and man, he was super dope. My reward was a Great Ghost Glovewort, Frozen Lightning Spear, and 12,000 runes. As such, I leveled my vigor to 28, and with that, adventure in Ainsel River seems to have come to a crescendo, but in reality, we are only just getting started. Keeping it real with y'all, I was actually struggling a fair bit as I strolled throughout Liurnia. I kept trying to find something, a task, if you will, to latch onto and work towards, but there's just something about this zone that seems to be even more standoffish than Limgrave was. Maybe I'm just missing something, and honestly, that's probably what it is. However, for a large portion of my time playing here, I felt lost and like I didn't really have a purpose. That's actually why I did a lot of bouncing around in this particular video. With that said, I am very happy with what I have been able to do in Limgrave now. I went back and tied up as many loose ends as I could think of, and surprisingly, they were all incredibly easy. I think that is what makes this part of my playthrough so interesting now. We are no longer the strongest Tarnished in the Lands Between, but we're also not the weakest. Some bosses are insanely hard and others are insanely easy. I actually really appreciate the Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella for that, because I finally felt like I found a truly worthy boss to battle with, and man, was it so worth it. One thing I am realizing is that this game truly is massive, and with each passing hour, it grows larger and larger. And I am so excited to see where my journey takes me next. My journey through Elden Ring thus far has been one of intrigue and vast excitement, and certainly is one that I do not wish to come to an end anytime soon. With that said, if you want to see more of my path to becoming the Elden Ring warrior, consider hitting the subscribe button. Alright, where we last left off, I had just completed a major milestone for myself in Liurnia, and finally started to speed up some momentum for myself. So naturally, I am feeling a lot better about myself and my direction. One thing that isn't so great though is how I have become over-reliant, to a fault, on my step attack with the Bloodhound's Fang. Yes, it's a great maneuver and certainly deals a ton of damage, but there has to be more to the combat in this game than just spamming that attack. As such, I have decided to make a change. I am finally going to do what I wanted to do so long ago, and that is dual wield my Bloodhound's Fang and my dismounter. But first, I have to reduce my armor weight so I can stay within the medium load threshold. I visited my friend, the nomadic merchant, and started figuring out how to optimize my armor situation for medium load. Yes, I had to reduce my overall damage negation, but I am willing to try it out and kind of see if the difference in attack power will help to offset the damage negation drop off. After purchasing some new gear, it was time to try out these behemoth blades in tandem once again. Not gonna lie, I kinda look like Badassatron. Initial thoughts are that I can one-shot with my dual blade attack, which is certainly what we're looking for. The only thing is the attacks are a bit slow, so I will need to adjust my playstyle accordingly. But honestly, so far, it feels pretty good. Now, granted, it's only been on some basic crawler boys. As I was testing out my new attacks, I stumbled across a spirit spring nearby. I don't remember seeing that before. I wonder if it will take me where I need to go for my story progression. I hopped on Torrent and gave it a go. Oh shit, there's an Everjail over there. Okay, all right. Before heading to the Everjail, I wanted to see what was on the right side of this new pathway, just to kind of get a lay of the land first. But out of nowhere, these tiny little cloud boys came after me, and they were hard as hell. I was not expecting them to be so fast and freaky. Jesus, man. I'm also still trying to kind of judge the distance I need to be away from the enemies in order to hit them with my new dual blade attack, so that kind of made this whole encounter tough as shit. I continued further and found some more of the Cloud Boys, but after taking them down, they dropped Vulgar Militia Armor. Okay, I like it. And it keeps me in medium load. I went back to the site of grass to heal up, and then headed for the Everjail that awaited me. Malefactor's Everjail. I was greeted. I entered. This is my first Everjail since I took down the Bloodhound Knight Darrowil many hours ago. So this should be interesting. I hope it goes easier. Aiden, Thief of Fire. He's a chubby little fella, ain't he? I rolled into his attack and landed a follow-up with my dual blades. Nice. I rolled again and struck for the second time. And then I did it for a third time. Okay, I've got a bit of a nice thing going here. He finally struck me, but I retaliated and then hit a step attack, bringing him to less than a quarter health. I had to heal up myself as I reached near death. And then this giant fireball exploded and pummeled me. I escaped Aiden's slam and... wait, did he heal himself? I definitely had him near death, and now he's at a third? I got him low yet again and went in for one final step attack, and then... okay, at first that boss was easy, but then he can heal himself? I don't think I've faced any boss that possessed that ability so far. That is a major game changer. Wow. Round 2. I failed my roll and attack, and immediately I am down several flasks and nearly all of my dignity. Man, this guy is just in my head now. It's all right. Let's just do it again. I hit my first roll, and then he struck me several times in a row to bring me very low. Dude, this is not going well. Again. I reset my position and then ran away from his fire, avoiding it this time. I followed up with a step attack, but then he healed himself again. With one flask remaining, I ran away from his fire and struck with another step attack. And then I got too aggressive and fell once again. All right, enough playing around. I started things with a step attack to bring him down to nearly half health. Took some more hits, but kept pestering him and landed another half step attack. I healed up and landed a jump attack, and one final time, a step attack, and it's done. Aiden, Thief of Fire, you are mine. You know what we have to do. He dropped a Flame of the Fell God incantation. Oh, hell yeah. This looks awesome. Man, that boss was actually super interesting. I nearly one-shot him and then got pummeled afterwards. Once I figured it out, though, it wasn't so hard. That whole healing thing, though, it's just so weird. I had no idea that there would be enemies in the lands between that can do that. Definitely a shocker, that's for sure. And now I have some real experience dual-wielding my Bloodhound's Fang and Dismounter, and I really like it. Still need some more time, but overall, I really enjoyed it. With that, my journey takes me further along the western side of Liurnia, and what lay ahead is surely to be dark and dreadful. Along my way, I ran into some fire people. I kinda underestimated them and, once again, dying to stupid stuff. My favorite pastime in the lands between. I went back and got my revenge. Oh, he dropped a monk's flame mace. This actually looks really interesting. I might try this out in the future. I took down the remaining flame boys in the camp and pursued further into the fog ahead. I am really hoping that this will lead me somewhere useful. Maybe I can find the key to the academy out here. I hugged the bottom of the ridge next to me as I looked for openings, and instead of a cave like I was expecting, I found death. Holy shit, there's tons of people just hung up on the poles. Well, if I know this game, I definitely just stumbled across to something rather interesting. And it looks like I'm actually inside a giant mouth within this hill. All right, we're getting somewhere. It definitely looks ominous, though. Village of the Albinorics. I slowly proceeded up the hill before me, taking down the bent boys one by one. Up ahead is someone I have seen before, all the way back at Round Table Hold. She essentially described that this town has been ravaged by unjust actions, and she will be bringing justice. Interesting. I continued on and noticed a spirit up ahead near a site of grass, but before that, a whole swath of bent boys came after me. One by one, I jump attacked them to their grave. I'm having a really fun time dual wielding. I found a larval tier, which allows the relocation of attributes boosted by leveling up. Wait, is this how I can respec my attributes? I'll find out later, but if so, that is awesome. I approached the spirit. They mentioned Albus. I wonder who that is. Definitely not Albus Dumbledore. I touched grass and discerned my next move. A rope bridge to my left and a hill to my right. It kinda looks like the hill is the real way ahead, so I went the rope bridge route first, just to clear it out. This magic boy shot me, so I killed them. As I got over here, I realized there really wasn't much going on, so I returned and proceeded up the hill. I am thinking there is gonna be a boss up here or something. Yep, there they are, looking menacing and shit. I landed a jump attack and then whiffed my step attack. I followed it up with another, but they dodged out of my way and then healed themselves. Bro! I went back for another couple strikes, but their fire kept me just far enough away so I couldn't finish them off. And then they fell off the cliff. I healed up and followed. Now there's a bent boy and the dark boy, and damn! All right, yep, that's annoying. But I don't think the dark boy is going to be too hard. I just gotta not let him heal, I think. I approached. I landed half a step attack and then whiffed a jump attack, but then I got him to 2 health and then they dodged away. But it's all good. I was able to finally finish the job. Woo, okay. I am learning that the enemies can apparently heal themselves. This is becoming a really big deal and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I explored the nearby area and found this glowing pot, so I tried to break it. But instead, it was actually a bent boy in disguise. It's Albus. He told me that the curse mongers destroyed the entire village, but he asked me to look after a Haligtree secret medallion, right, and give it to Latenna if I meet her. I can do that, Albus. Don't you worry. I am the future Elden Ring warrior. It looks like this medallion will grant me access to the Grand Lift of Rold. Is that the lift that is supposedly broken somewhere in Liurnia? That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I'm not exactly sure. While I was in my menu, I started messing around with my talismans. I activated the green turtle talisman and the winged sword insignia. Let's see how that works out for me. I searched the area for more clues and then continued on the bridge ahead. One by one, I defeated the bent boys on my way to killing the dung beetle, which I didn't really need to do, actually. Oh, up ahead looks very interesting. Definitely looks like a boss encounter for sure. I filled up my focus points, called in my demi-humans, and approached the Omen Killer. Oh, damn, bro's got big fire. With him distracted, I landed a jump attack, followed by another strike. But then he smacked me and dropped me pretty low. I tried rolling out of the way, but could barely move? What? Bro, what the hell just happened? I shouldn't be heavy load. Why couldn't I move? That's so annoying. I tried to run past the dark boy, but I realized that he was gonna come after me no matter what, so I went back to take him down. And with my step attack, I fell off the bridge and died. More annoying deaths. Ugh. Okay, I went to take down the dark boy and Jesus! Bro, I am starting to get a little pissed off. I just want to go to the Omen Killer. I properly defeated the dark boy this time, not taking any damage. I worked my way back to the boss. I realized that when I switched my talismans, I put myself just barely into heavy load. So I fixed that now, and I am back at medium load. I refueled my focus points, drank my flask of wondrous physic, called in my demi-humans, and went to work, missing my jump attack. I landed my next one though, and 2 more strikes. Another jump attack in, and I had to take care of this annoying dog. Then, before I could even get there, my demi-humans finished him off. Omen Killer, you are mine. You know what we have to do. Holy cow, man, my demi-humans put in some work right there. The boss wasn't exceptionally hard, but damn, that was really interesting to experience. I roamed around the rest of the area, searching for anything to bring me closer to my goal, and along the way, I found a crystal sword. Oh man, now this actually looks super cool. I will definitely have to give this a try in the future. And with that, my time in the village of Albinorix has come to a close. But my journey ahead has only just begun. I found a new site of grass at this broken down tower. I touched it and rested. The converted tower, I was greeted. Inside is a statue surrounded by candles. Interesting. Erudition guide thee, a message said. Unless I am missing something, which is certainly possible, there is nothing in here? Why would there be a whole tower and an idol if there's nothing to do or gain here? Weird. I continued on outside, and there is a massive tree up ahead, like huge. That definitely has to be an important location. I took down a couple of enemies as I approached the massive tree. Oh shit, yep, there's a boss up there. Well, alrighty, let's do this. I drank a flask of wondrous physic, called my demi-humans, and approached the minor Erd tree, and went to battle with the Erd tree avatar. I landed a jump attack, and then backed off to avoid their slam. I approached again for another jump attack, and half a step attack before getting smashed. I went in for another step attack, but his yellow lights shattered me. Interesting. It looks like he isn't that hard, but I'm gonna have to avoid the yellow light. I called my demi-humans, applied some magic grease, drank my flask of wondrous physic, and approached once more. I baited him with my demi-humans and then approached for a jump attack, followed by a half step attack, twice. I almost got destroyed, but then I healed up and refilled my focus points and landed a jump attack. His yellow lights are coming, but I stayed away. Landed a step attack and then broke their poise. I got slammed, but one final time I landed a step attack to finish him off, and what? Huh, nice. So, we did that whole thing where you trade, like in Call of Duty. Cool. Still, Erd Tree Avatar, you are mine. You know what we have to do. I am gonna take a stab at it and assume that the yellow lights he was using is holy damage. I don't know for sure, but it would make sense to be that way. I surveyed the area around the tree to try and find something interesting. Maybe a way into the tree or a hidden path, something. Alas, as I continued searching, I came across nothing, and my time at the minor Erd tree has ended. I'll tell you what though, that Erd tree avatar was really cool, and it makes me wonder if there are multiple of those enemies. It kind of seems like the style of boss where there would be more of them, kind of like the Tibia Mariner. But then again, I have absolutely no idea. I continued on my pathway northward, looking for a hidden pathway, or really anything, to lead me to the glintstone key that I am searching for. Some comments in the last video mentioned something about a dragon in the water, but I haven't seen anything yet. I continued looking. Amongst my journey, I found an interesting corpse on the ground, and the messages were talking about revenge? Not sure what that means, but I continued on and found a sight of grass ahead. Perfect! I was needing one of those. As I was about to rest, I got stabbed in the back? What the fuck? What is this red dude? Edgar the Revenger? Huh? I landed a jump attack and followed with a step attack to drop him to 1/3 health. I interrupted his heal, but then he got me back with a couple stabs. I healed up and whiffed my attacks and then got blasted. Okay, what the hell is this? Bro looks like just a regular dude, but he's got a red name? What is that? It says invaded? I don't understand. I landed a jump attack and followed with a step attack. I healed, rolled out of his attack, and finished him off. Edgar the Revenger, you are mine. You know what we have to do. Invader vanquished. Invader? What does that even mean? He dropped a bunch of stuff. A shrubbery grape, a banished knight's halberd +8, and a raw meat dumpling. Man, that halberd is actually really interesting. It's really strong too. With some more upgrades, it will be a very strong weapon. I went to the site of grass and arrested Invader. Are there like different realms or something that enemies can quote unquote invade from? I have a feeling I'm going to find more of that in the future. And the thing is, he kind of looked like a tarnished too? So odd. I continued on my trek and quickly came across another Everjail. Yo, we are just absolutely ripping through this western side of Liurnia. I love it. I approached Cuckoo's Everjail and entered. Ahead is Bowls, Carrion Knight. He is absolutely massive. I rolled into their attack and struck, following it up with a step attack. I rolled back and got blasted with his magic swords, and then got knocked back by his rage. I rolled in again and landed a few more strikes to bring him down to half. I got smashed and then knocked back and then smashed again. Jesus, dude, come on now. I drank my flask of wondrous physic and reset my position. I rolled in and landed a step attack. The magic swords came after me and I dodged them this time. Along with dodging him, I rolled in once again and landed a step attack before getting smashed and knocked back again. He is extremely low. I just got to be patient. I dodged the magic swords, rolled through his smash, and landed the final blow. Bowls Carrion Knight, you are mine. You know what we have to do. He dropped a Great Blade Phalanx. Oh, this looks awesome. I don't have nearly enough intelligence for it though. Yo, dude, first try, man. That's now 3 Everjails down for me. Hell yes. I hopped on Torrent and ran ahead toward higher elevation. And as I ran to the site of grass ahead, I heard singing echoing in the nearby area. I leveled my vigor to 30 because up ahead, I have a feeling things are about to get very interesting. With that, I finally feel like I am beginning to figure out Liurnia, and with each passing hour, I am encountering more and more things that are opening up and broadening my horizons of understanding within the lands between. The question is, what happens next? Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you're interested in seeing more behind the scenes notes, scripts, and an uncut podcast where I discuss my journey in the lands between, consider becoming a cool boy via YouTube memberships or Patreon. Seriously, thank you guys so much to those of you who have already chosen to support. Y'all are awesome. Otherwise, subscribe if you haven't already to see what happens next in the journey of the future Elden Ring warrior, and catch up on that journey by checking out the video on screen now.